Here's how this habit will single-handedly destroy your testosterone levels. And that habit is staying home all day, gooning, fucking Netflix and chilling, playing video games all day. Let me explain. So before you understand why this habit destroys your testosterone levels, you must first understand testosterone's primary role. So most people think that testosterone's primary role is to build more muscle, to get stronger, to be more masculine. But that's actually not the case. Testosterone's primary role is to reproduce. That is testosterone's primary role. It's to reproduce, to pass on your genes, to secure a mate. That's literally all it's for. And building muscle, being stronger, being more competitive, being more masculine, all help with the end goal of reproduction. So this is why staying home all day basically destroys your testosterone levels, because when you stay home all day, you make it impossible for your body to reproduce. Because how will you secure a mate if you're always at home? Think about it. You won't. You're basically telling your body it cannot reproduce. And when that happens, your testosterone levels take a nosedive. This is actually not new. It's not new science. And when you realize how everything is so interconnected and why it's so important to go outside, you understand why this lowers testosterone so much. So how did our ancestors actually live? They lived in tribal communities. They were constantly around people, and most importantly, they were always outside. They weren't at home, they weren't on social media, they were outside in the sun, exercising, running around, socializing, competing. And if you compare it to now, where modern men are just at home, in their comfort zone, jacking off all day, you understand why there's such a huge low testosterone epidemic. You know, it makes sense as to why we have such low levels of testosterone than ever before. It's because we're always inside. We're always at home. We're not doing anything with our lives. So let's explain the science behind why staying home all day actually kills your testosterone. So the first reason why staying home all day kills testosterone is because of women. And you might be a little bit confused as to why that's a reason why that lowers testosterone, but let me explain. So when you restrict access to women, you tell your body that there are no mates for you to reproduce with, and therefore testosterone's primary function will be gone. And when that happens, your body will just stop producing testosterone, because if there's no way for it to reproduce, why should it release testosterone? It will be a waste of resources, and the body is a smart machine, and it hates to waste resources. So if you're not around attractive women, then your body will stop producing testosterone, and your testosterone will take a nosedive. And this has actually been proved in studies where they took the testosterone levels, the blood tests of boys who were in mixed high schools and boys who were only in boys' high schools. And the study showed that boys who were in mixed high school had higher levels of testosterone on average compared to the men who were only in boys' high schools. And there's also been another study that showed speaking to an attractive woman caused a 30% increase in testosterone in a matter of 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, there was a 30% increase in testosterone via the adrenal glands. Why? Why does the testosterone increase so much when we're speaking to an attractive woman or we're around one? It's because your brain sees every single woman, an attractive woman, as a potential mate, and it releases testosterone in order to force the man to try to reproduce and spread on his genes. So it's all very interconnected. So that's why when you stay home all day, you restrict access to attractive women, to potential mates, and that just really, really lowers your testosterone levels, because there's no one to reproduce with. So the next reason why staying home all day kills testosterone is because of competition. So I've actually made a separate video on how strong competition can be in boosting testosterone, because there has been a study that showed a 600% increase in testosterone in response to a competitive scenario. So competition is one of the most powerful things that can affect your testosterone levels. And when you compete more, you will have higher testosterone levels. This is why when you stay at home, you have no one to compete with. You're just at home, you get lazy, you become complacent, and then your testosterone levels take a nosedive. Because when there's no one to fight off, when there's no competitors to beat, to overcome, to win against, your testosterone levels take a nosedive. And I've actually experienced this myself. When I stopped playing football, when I stopped playing sports and I stopped competing, my testosterone levels went really down and I didn't have the same zest for life as I did when I was competing. So the third reason why staying home all day kills testosterone is because of sunlight. When you're always at home, you're constantly under a roof and you're not going to be getting your sunlight that you really, really vitally need. When you stop getting enough sunlight, you develop a vitamin D deficiency. Your vitamin D deficiency, so your vitamin D goes down. And vitamin D is actually so important for your testosterone and your overall health. When you're not getting enough sunlight, you also experience lower dopamine. And dopamine is essentially a neurotransmitter that's essential for effort, motivation, and drive. So sunlight, especially in the morning, increases dopamine because the rays from the sun signal to your brain to start releasing dopamine and make you feel more happier, to make you feel more motivated to get tasks done. So dopamine is actually very important for life. And when you're not getting enough sunlight, you will not get enough dopamine, and when you have low dopamine, your testosterone levels goes down. When dopamine goes up, testosterone also goes up. These two have a very close relationship. When dopamine goes up, prolactin goes down, and when prolactin goes down, testosterone goes up. So that's why it's so important that you get your sunlight, especially in the morning, because that causes dopamine to increase, and when dopamine increases, testosterone increases with it. So stop falling for the scam that sunlight causes cancer and so on. It's all BS. You need to get outside, get your sunlight, so that you don't develop a vitamin D deficiency, which is very, very, very detrimental to your health, and that you have adequate levels of dopamine. Because a life with low dopamine is a very miserable life. Let me tell you that right now. Low dopamine is honestly, you don't want to experience low dopamine. So that's why it's so important for you to get outside and get your sunlight. So that being said, make sure you go outside every single morning and get your sunlight. Make sure you're getting adequate levels of sunlight because it's so undeniably important for your testosterone levels and your overall health. So the next reason as to why staying at home all day kills testosterone is because of socializing. When you're always staying at home, you're going to be isolated from other people. And being isolated from other people, from women as we described before, and other men, really, really negatively impacts your testosterone and your overall health. Because when you're always at home, you develop social anxiety, which is really bad in and of itself, and you're more likely to develop mental health issues like depression. It leads to these mental health problems like social anxiety, depression, anxiety. You get loneliness, and this really, really, really severely impacts your physical health and your mental health. So that's why it's so important that you go outside, you speak to people, and you get off social media, because social media is actually one of the main reasons why we've all become, as a nation, antisocial. How fucked is that? Social media, which has the word social in it, has done the opposite and made us antisocial. It's given us all social anxiety. Delete social media, get off social media, because that's one of the main causes of, staying at home, because of the social media addiction. Go outside, make some friends, and socialize for once in your life. Stop being at home all the time. So the next reason why staying at home all the time lowers testosterone is because of exercise. Let me write it down here. So when you're always at home, you're going to take less steps. Daily steps will be low. Your daily steps will be very low, and you're less likely to exercise. And when that happens, you become more fat, you become lazy, and you become ugly. And these things really mess up your health, your self-esteem, your confidence, and your testosterone levels. So when you have more body fat, it causes testosterone to go down, because body fat and fat in general contains the enzyme aromatase, and aromatase converts testosterone into estrogen. So the fatter you get, the more estrogen you have, the lower testosterone you have. And this has actually been proved in so many studies where people who have lost weight have significantly increased their testosterone levels in a matter of months. So that being said, being fat lowers testosterone. So let me just write it down. Lowers testosterone. And it causes you to become lazy. When you become lazy, you stop taking care of yourself as often, you stop grooming yourself, you stop cleaning your room, and you stop living like an actual normal human being, and you become this subhuman who doesn't take care of themselves. And that's honestly disgusting, first of all. And when you stop taking care of yourself, your confidence and self-esteem and self-image takes a hit. And when that happens, that also lowers your testosterone. When you become fat and lazy, it causes you to become very ugly. And when you become very ugly, that also lowers testosterone because you're less confident, you become less confident, you become less, happy about yourself and your self-image. So that lowers your testosterone as well. That being said, staying at home is honestly one of the worst habits you can do for your testosterone and for your overall life. And now that you watch this video, it's very important that you don't just watch it. You need to take action. You need to actually go outside for once in your life, get off social media, stop scrolling on your phone all day, reduce your screen time, go outside, actually speak to people. I don't know why am I supposed to actually speak to people? We'll make some friends and start living like a normal human being. Isn't it crazy how this single habit, staying home all day, leads to all of these issues like low testosterone and mental health issues and self-image? You get fatter and uglier. Isn't it it's so crazy how intertwined everything is and how it's one thing leads to another, like a domino effect. Just one thing can lead to so many other issues that you would never even imagine. So I hope this video was helpful. It's very important that you apply these practices and get the fuck outside. I say this with frustration because 3 years ago, after the COVID lockdown, when you were allowed to go outside again, I was one of many individuals who continued to live like the lockdown was still going on. I was always at home, despite everything else being open. I was playing Fortnite. I was playing video games. I was getting no sunlight because I was always at home. I was not competing. I wasn't surrounded by any women, and this really, really lowered my testosterone levels. And I had around 350 nanograms of testosterone at that time. But when I realized how it was all because I was staying at home, that this was all happening, that I was getting ugly, I was getting skinny fat, I developed depression and mental health issues and social anxiety, I realized it was all because I was staying at home. When I realized that it was all because I was staying at home, I went outside, I started speaking to more people, and before I knew it, my life changed. My testosterone levels from that moment to a year after was 750 nanograms. So if you want to know how I did that, I actually have a school community which you can check out, which gives you the blueprint of how I went from 350 nanograms of testosterone to 750 nanograms of testosterone in 1 year. So make sure you check that out. And that's it for today, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.